Hello and welcome once again to the Maverick Diaries, or How to Make a Crisis Out of a Drama. I'm Nick Hennigan. Thanks for joining me again, and thank you for your kind comments and following. You can follow us somewhere down here, or subscribe, I should say. It's been an interesting period of time. I'm a bit knackered actually today. Don't you see these bags under me? Oh. And also, I've flipped through, we start talking about computers in 1997. This is a stream of consciousness diary that I wrote about making a play called A Ghost of a Chance, a new play, What I Wrote. And after a conversation with a television director a few weeks ago now, who said this extraordinary time of the coronavirus and lockdown, and it's extraordinary. And he said, wasn't the 1997 extraordinary for you? Having made a new piece of work, and we won 4 awards for it. So yeah, this is why I'm doing this, and thanks for sharing it. And, just popping in to say hello. Oh yes, we talk about technology, and in 1997 we didn't have any really. This has arrived today. It's an Apple Pencil. It's the first generation. I can't afford it. Not that sophisticated. We've actually started to run courses for potential producers. This was actually the idea. Have you got a moment? Yeah. This was the idea of my course director. I mean, I should say I left school with no qualifications, and I didn't actually get to university until I was 50. And then it was to do a master's course at the University of London. I've got postdoctoral experience, don't you know, love? Oh yes, that's how they let me in without having an undergraduate degree. And because I was a bit poor, the course director at the time, Andrew McKinnon, said, why don't you take all this weird experience you've got of community theatre and starting, pub theatre and touring, which I've done since, and just do a workshop on it. So it's called An Introduction to Creative Producing. I did one. We hired the Theatre Royal, Drury Lane. Not all of it, just a room at the back. And about 30 people turned up, which was way too many. And that was 2008, and I've been doing them ever since. We're on about the 40th, I think, tomorrow. And incredibly, they're all done online now. Who'd heard of Zoom 3 months ago? And this Apple Pencil means I can turn my iPad into a whiteboard. Hey? Yes. So these bags under my eyes as well must have got worse. It's finding it quite tiring. I don't know if you know, it was a comedian, Sally Phillips. She was Smack the Pony and stuff like that. And she was saying just the other day that the lockdown, which we're still sort of in at the moment as I speak, at the end of May 2020, the lockdown, when it happened straight away, she felt tired by it. She's not one of those people, she said, who, I've got all this time, I'll rush off and learn Latin. And I know where she's coming from. She's got 3 hours kick last night. Anyway, that's now. Let's go back to 1997, shall we? Because that's what this is all about. And thank you for liking it. Get in touch. I mentioned a Virgin Net email. That doesn't work anymore, but you can always get in touch at info@mavericktheatre.co.uk. That's the new one. Anyway, thank you. Back to 1997. Wednesday, the 18th of June. I got back from London on Monday night. I saw John Adams and Glenn Bays with my girlfriend, Rebecca, as previously mentioned, at RADA, the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art. I watched the show John Adams had directed. It was good, and I felt a shiver of nervous excitement that the next production I'll see him do will be mine. It'll be A Ghost of a Chance. I arrived back in Birmingham to find that the Metro News weekly free paper have run a story about us looking for a boy to play the part of Tim in Ghost of a Chance. A bit like this, but at least they've run the story. And I really like the start of the piece. It reads, Maverick Theatre, that hotbed of young talent. Great. Hotbed of young talent, eh? Well, that quote wasn't actually in the press release. So it's obviously how the newspapers see us, and I'm very pleased about that. And then I look at my reflection in the window. I switch my gaze across the office, formerly my dining room, at John Slater, sitting there playing Tetris on his computer. Hotbed of young talent. I cough, scratch, and think, if only they knew. Saturday, 21st of June. We're on the internet. And I did it all by myself without Justin's help. I bought a modem and some extra memory after talking to a computer whiz at the video production company in Birmingham, CBC. He told me to get in touch with Great Bar Computers. So I checked the oil and the water in the Rover, I decide it'll probably make it, and I head out to the dim and distant plains of North Birmingham. I was going to get a PCM CIA card or whatever they're called, but I know nothing, and I'm easily sold an external fax modem for about 80 quid. And I have a free offer from Virgin Net, so with a stunning lack of research as to the best service provider, I decide we'll go with that. Our email address is easy enough to remember. It's maverick.theatre@virgin.net. Pretty easy, eh? Go on. If you're on the net, give us a quick email now and tell me what you think of my ravings. But remember, I'm a sensitive artist. I also get the feeling that this computer lark's going to be more and more important as time goes on. I think being on the internet is a good place to be, and it could be quite significant in the future. Last night and tonight I go out with my sister again. Her daughter is at her husband's for the weekend, and as a previously full-time working mum, she's at a bit of a loose end without a daughter and or husband to look after. I'm quite glad her marriage has gone wrong, you know. I know it's selfish, but she's good fun to be with. I show her the piece I wrote about how she saved me from the bully a few years ago. I'm trying to do this with anyone who appears in these pages, although it's getting increasingly difficult as the number of subjects increase. But I don't want to upset anyone, so the subject of my musings has complete editorial control. If they're not happy with anything that I've written, I'll take it out. For instance, I showed the May section, which included John Napier, the kid actor, to his mom. Everyone was okay. And so far, in fact, nobody has objected to anything. If anyone does, I'll let you know by inserting an asterisk. Fiona does not object either, although she remembers the incident more clearly than I do. She tells me the bully's name, and she also informs me that the reason he was beating me up was that I used to take the mickey out of him, and this time I happened to get caught. Sorry, bully. Wicked child I must have been. John Slater is on my back. I shake him off and tell him to be careful in case my sister hears about it and she comes to punch his lights out. No, he's not really on my back, of course, but he wants me to write a bit of copy about the 3rd annual youth workshop for the leaflet that we are producing. Here it is in unedited form. If you're on our mailing list, you'll see the finished version. Oh, by the way, if you're not on our mailing list, why not? It's free for as long as we can pay the postage. Email me, loves. Now there's an idea. Email mailing lists. The 3rd annual Maverick Summer School. The first summer school 3 years ago came about as a result of parents who attended our productions asking me why we couldn't do something for their kids. At the time, I was effectively doing everything single-handed with Maverick, but after a bit of research, I found that the only other course for children in the area either lasted the whole school term or was very expensive. So I approached Sarah Tribe, MA, the actress from Maverick Theatre's second production, Trench Kiss, that we did at the Billesley pub. At the time, she was running the Alex Youth group, and so was experienced at working with children in a theatrical environment. My experience with children had been limited to social work in London in a residential capacity, although the co-star of my next play, Ghost of a Chance, at the Billesley in September is 13-year-old Justin Luke Towler. Tickets on sale now. So I asked Sarah to come up with a concept and cost it out. The only stipulation was that the workshop should run a week and produce a little performance on the last day for family and friends to attend. I wanted the youngsters to experience live performance, and I felt it would add an edge to the classes. Maverick is a not-for-profit company anyway, but the other stipulation was that the cost of the course to the children should be precisely what it would cost us to mount it. There was to be no profit or management fee. It had to be charged at cost so that nobody would be excluded due to inability to pay. And we needed a concession rate as well to cope with those children whose parents were not well off. The rest was up to Sarah. It worked well. The following year, the same brief was given to Joe Mosley, a senior student of the Stage 2 Youth Workshop who was trying to raise funds to take up the place she'd been offered at drama school in London. Oh, it's a ridiculous situation that for the first time since the 1950s, only young people who can afford it can now attend drama school. But that's another story. Joe and our own director Glenn Bays had a great week. And now we are pleased to have on board Lisa Conway, who has just finished 7 years as a dancer with the Birmingham Royal Ballet to run the 1997 workshop. Lisa has been given the same brief, and thanks to her and her associate David Lloyd, I hope we will have another great week. Apart from the original concept, my only hands-on involvement with the summer workshops has been to attend the final shows. The first two were great, I can tell you, and I'm really looking forward to this one. Each year, the courses have offered different perspectives on the performing arts, a perspective dictated by the individuals running the workshops. Obviously, this year the focus will be more on dance, offering yet another unique opportunity to the young people taking part. We're very fortunate to have someone with Lisa's experience, and I hope your children will enjoy the week. Thanks very much. Yours sincerely, blah blah. That should do. Although I give it to John Slater and he mutters something like, bloody hell, I wanted half a page of A5, not a bloody Bible. He'll cope. Bless him. Sunday the 22nd of June, 1997. Flippin' heck, this internet thing's a laugh. I've discovered things called chat rooms and pages. So far, I've been a brain surgeon, a nuclear physicist and a visitor from the planet Zark. Great fun. It says in the rules you shouldn't pretend to be anyone else, but it's a great way of researching the human condition and sussing out speech patterns, and I always let them know it's really me at the end. Oh, and also I suss out people's inability to type. I reckon if Lee Strasberg had been on the internet, the Method School of Acting would have enjoyed a very different slant. He would have had Dustin Hoffman, Robert De Niro and all that lot in a classroom saying, the basics of characters start with the size of the processor. I stay in tonight, and I gently weep for my phone bill. Damn you, internet. You lovely, lovely thing.